Ever have a sales call that felt great? They say, "This sounds good," and then they disappear? That's not interest, that's a polite exit. In this episode, I'm breaking down why buyers say, "Sounds good," instead of "No," and the 5 ways to stop getting ghosted before it even starts. And number 4, it's a shocker. Let's get started.
Welcome to Own the Room, for people operating where the stakes are real.
Pitches, negotiations, leadership conversations that don't come with a second chance.
Here, you'll learn to control perception, read the room, and thrive in high-stakes communication. Now here's Jake Stahl, who's going to help you turn communication
into your unfair advantage.
Jake, I had this great sales call the other day with a prospect.
Excellent.
They were really interested. I used the Strata framework that I've read about in your book and that you've taught, and everything was going great. And I was getting to the close, and they asked me to follow up with them as soon as possible, and they'd get back to me.
Right.
And so I did, but that was last week. And I've followed up 3 times since, and I haven't heard anything back. I'm starting to think, are my emails not going through? What's happening here? I'm getting ghosted by this person who was so interested and sounded like they were about ready to pull the trigger. What do I do?
Yeah, and John, this is really uncomfortable, and we all face this as business owners. I face this too. I don't think anybody's immune to that ghosting, but there's an uncomfortable truth buried in here. They didn't ghost you after the call. They exited the conversation during the call. You just didn't see it. And this is one of the main premises in Own the Room, is that people leave well before they physically leave. And there's a couple of reasons this happens. Buyers say "sounds good" instead of "no" because they're protecting the interaction. And what I mean by that is they don't want to have that uncomfortable awkwardness or tension, or they don't want to feel like they're shutting you down. So instead of rejecting you, they're softening their exit. And John, I don't know about you, but I've done that already. I've had a nice salesperson, somebody who was super nice. They were very polite. They were good at their job. And I didn't want to crush them. So you just kind of, yeah, I'll think about it.
Yeah, I just didn't think that was me.
The second piece of this is most people in a sales interaction don't ask for a real decision. And what I mean by that, John, is when we're business owners or salespeople on a call, we stay informational, polite, exploratory, and we never take a position. So we never ask for a series of decisions during the call. And so what happens is there's nothing to really think about for the other person. They just say, "I'll think about this later," and later equals, well, never.
Never. And that's why they ghost you. That's so weird. I mean, I
It
could
is.
have sworn that they were totally genuine about it. And part of me is still holding on to hope that they are, right? But I hear what you're saying because I've done the same thing with door-to-door salespeople. It's kind of like
Yeah.
that psychological safety where it's, well, I'm just going to be really polite, but there's no way I'm ever going to buy that product.
Yeah. And John, another small part of this is there's internal uncertainty. And it's not about the pitch. It's about the risk, the optics, the consequences. We talked the other week on the podcast about all of the things that go into somebody saying yes and what that means to them. So instead of saying yes, they say, "Sounds good." But internally, they're saying, "I'm just really not sure."
Oh,
So
that
buyers
hurt.
don't say "sound good" when they're sold. They say it when they're unresolved. And fortunately for you, John, I've compiled 5 things that can help prevent that ghosting.
That's what we need to do because it sounds like once you're being ghosted, it's a little too far gone. So how do we prevent that in the first place?
Yeah, so here's the 5 things that can prevent ghosting. Number 1 is make it safe to say no. Now, this may sound really counterintuitive because people are like, I don't want them to say no, I want them to say yes. But the fact is, during the entire conversation, your client is thinking, if I don't like this, how do I let them down safely and smoothly without crushing them? So, what we should say as business owners and when we're in the call is listen, it's totally fine if this isn't a fit. We can figure that out together. That removes the pressure of them having to figure out how to say no and opens the door for them to actually think and relax and possibly say yes. So it's removing the pressure. And when it's safe to say no, people stop faking yes.
It actually is very counterintuitive, but I hear what you're saying because we shouldn't be afraid of that no. What we should be afraid of is the fake yes, is the fake I'll get
Yeah,
back to you. Because now this is taking mental and psychological energy of mine and maybe time too into these follow-ups, into thinking about this that I could be spending moving on to the next prospect if this person were to just be upfront and say no. So I'd rather have a no than a oh maybe possibly.
that's 100% right. It would allow you to not have to put all of that pressure on yourself figuring out what went wrong and how many more follow-ups do I do and what do I put in this email. So it's actually better for both parties. Number 2, ask for a position, not an opinion. Here's what I mean. Many of us, while we're on the phone, will say, so what do you think? So you're asking for an opinion. Instead, force them to take a position. So try something like, do you see this as something you'd actually move forward with?
Hmm.
You feel the difference? So what do
Yeah.
you think is they can just extrapolate all over the place, but do you see this as something you'd actually move forward with is getting them to take a position? Yes,
Mm.
no, maybe. Any of those answers allows me to shed more light that will get them to lean either way.
You're trying to extract more honest information from them instead of giving them opportunities to go, oh yeah, interesting, that sounds good.
Yeah, and I think just to reframe this, opinions are safe, positions are real. So we want to get them away from that safe response and to a real response, whether that's a yes or a no.
Yes, that's great. I love that. So we got feel free to say no, and we got some of these carefully worded ways to ask them. Not just, "How does that sound?" or, "Does that sound good to you?" "Oh, yeah, it does sound good." It's that yes momentum where we're trying to get people to just say yes to things that are obvious. "What if I doubled your sales? Would that be good?" And they say, "Yes, of course." And then you're leading them down that yes trail. You're saying, "No, open it up where you can actually get information out of them that's more real from the position they're at."
100%. That takes us to number 3. Surface the hesitation directly. So, many of us, when we're on the phone, will say, do you have any questions? Hey, what questions do you have? It forces them to ask any broad number of questions, or more importantly, for them to go, nope, I'm good. Instead, try to surface any hesitation. So ask the question, Mr. Prospect, what's not sitting right yet? This pulls out what would have turned into silence later.
Are you saying that you're actually trying to get the objections out of
Yes,
them so that you can handle them better?
better out than in. We want to have them telling us what the issues are versus not telling us and then ghosting us later.
So this is where it's completely opposite of what I've been doing because one of the least favorite parts of sales for me is objection handling, right?
Right.
So I'm sitting here in the corner going, "Please don't have any objections. Please don't have any objections." You're almost saying, "Bring on the objections. I want to hear them."
And John, part of people not giving objections is, like we talked about earlier, the discomfort with giving them. So they'll walk away with something that you may have easily solved because they didn't feel comfortable bringing it up. So if we can say, what's not sitting right with you yet? That's asking them to literally dig in and go, John, you know what's not sitting right is this feels like it's going to take too long and I need results tomorrow.
Mm.
And then you can address that concern. But if we're so busy getting yeses and we're ignoring the no's, turn into that ghost later.
Ah, so better now than never.
Correct. It's one of those things where I don't know if you've ever gotten into a heated discussion with somebody and they came up with a point like 20 minutes in the conversation and you said, God, why didn't you just say that earlier?
Yes. Oh, all
Right?
the time.
Right. So
All the
we're
time.
saying to the customer, say it early, say it often, let me address it.
Yes. Okay. I can see where you're coming from then.
Now, here's the controversial one, which is number 4. Call out the polite exit. Don't hesitate to say to them, hey, if this is one of those sound good, send it over moments, we should probably talk that through before we get off the phone. Sound good, send it over is the death knell to a lot of great conversations, right? You say, oh my God, it sounded good. Yeah, I'll send it over. And then nothing.
That's what I'm in right now. Yeah.
Exactly. So, Mr. Prospect, if this is one of those sounds good, send it over moments, we should probably talk that through before we get off.
You're saying actually explicitly say that to them?
Yes. What you're
Wow.
doing, John, is you're interrupting the default escape route. So if they're
Mm.
about to say, sounds good, send it over, and you say, we should probably talk that through before we get off, that talk with them sounds like, I'll send it over today. When will I get a response from you? If I don't hear from you, when should I follow up? That conversation needs to happen.
That is very uncomfortable.
It is.
Wow.
John, let me ask you this. What's more uncomfortable? You saying that and getting it out of the way, or waiting for on pins and needles for 3 weeks, sending follow-up email after follow-up email, hoping they'll respond? Which is more
Well,
uncomfortable?
you got me. It's very uncomfortable to be waiting around. So as uncomfortable as it is to say it in that moment, you're right. Get it out of the way is really the right approach there.
Yeah, and you're telling them you can say that, but then let's set up some parameters. And this is accountability talk, John, is all it is. Okay, so you're saying you'll get back to me. What does that look like? Will that be a phone call? Will that be an email? How long should I wait before I follow up with you? And when I do follow up with you, what would you like me to say? Would you like me to say, I'm waiting for a response? Would you like me to just prompt you and say, hey, I'm waiting? What does that follow up look like?
Hmm.
And when somebody starts committing to you, hey, John, follow up in 2 days. I'd appreciate an email. And just ping me and say, listen, Chowderhead, you didn't get back to me yet. Please do. When they say it, that makes it firm and concrete on their end.
That's a good point because some people do need there are circumstances where somebody might be ghosting you, but they're
Yes,
just terrible at getting back to you. So those genuinely they might still be interested. You just need to know who's who. Are they ghosting you or are they one of these people who needs 3 follow-ups before they even see your email?
correct. And John, that also gives us the right to be more direct in our follow up. Not rude, just more direct. So, John, you told me to follow up in 2 days via email. Here it is. And the subject line of my email can be following up per your request.
I like that. Instead of just
So,
following up. Yeah.
exactly. Or send this to the top of your inbox. Or did
Yeah.
you forget about me? You're setting yourself up for more accurate and more direct follow ups.
And that's actually by explicitly asking them. I would have
Correct.
never thought to do that. That feels bold. It feels Like you're breaking these unwritten rules of sales.
And John, you're doing this for you as much as anything. You're setting up a follow up protocol based on what the customer wants. And that way, if they decide not to follow up, you did all the right things and you don't have that open loop sitting there going, what could I have done differently?
And so how do we ask this again? We just explicitly come out and ask them what our follow-up schedule should be.
Yeah. So, Mr. Prospect, if this is one of those sounds good, send it over moments, let's talk that through. So, when would you like me to follow up with you? Next Tuesday? Great. Do you prefer an email or a phone call? An email? Fantastic. And listen, because I don't want to be a jerk when I follow up, what would you like me to say in the email? Would you like me to just say, hey, you owe me stuff? Or how would you like me to approach that? Oh, you want me to just say to remind you that I was going to ping you? That's fine. I can gladly put that in the email. Okay, good. That sounds great. I will send it over. And if I don't hear back from you, I'll follow up.
So you never want a call to end without having a clear next action step.
Correct.
Hmm.
Yep. And you also want to call out how are they going to follow up with you? So I'm going to send this over on Tuesday. When am I going to hear from you? And what will that look like? Okay, I'll hear from you Monday. Will that be an email or a phone call? Email, great. I'll keep my eyes out for it then. So cover all the bases.
It's bold. It's direct. A lot of us are too afraid of being that upfront with somebody.
Yes. And if you think that's direct, wait till you hear number 5.
Oh boy. Okay. Bring it on.
Number 5 is end with a decision frame. Here's what I mean. Never end a call with I'll follow up. Ever. And I hear my clients say this all the time, John. Oh, I'll follow up. Instead, Mr. Prospect, let's just figure this out now. Does this make sense to move forward with, or is it not quite there yet? If I don't get a decision on the call that they agree that this is something to move forward with, that equals ghosting after the call.
But it's happening during the call.
Correct. If I end the call with I'll follow up and they're already gone, then my follow ups are just going to fall on deaf words. So at the end of the call or towards the end of the call, Mr. Prospect, let's figure out now, does this make sense to move forward with? Or is it not quite there yet?
And that's saving you the time and the energy of this is up in the air. It's an open loop. You're trying to save that for yourself. And instead, trying to get a more concrete answer from them.
Yeah. And listen, that's why we're in business. If you like it, great, let's move forward. If you don't, please tell me. Give me the courtesy of being able to discuss any hesitation you have. And if you're still not bought in, awesome. We'll call it quits. We'll walk away friends. Everything is good.
You're right, because nobody has a 100% close rate.
No,
No matter, not even you have a 100% close rate.
no, I don't.
So that's okay. Like, better to get that on the call than to get it after 3 weeks of wondering and then just realizing that they're not interested because they haven't gotten back to you.
Correct. And John, think about this as when you first met your wife. You don't want to date somebody for a year if there's no future.
Right.
So each time you go out, you're thinking to yourself and you're talking to them, you're thinking, does this make sense to move forward with or not yet? And when that or not yet is gone, the engagement happens. So we do this in real life all the time. And yet for some reason, we forget about it when we're in a sales call.
It's so weird. Maybe as we're dealing with strangers more so. I don't know, but that is weird because, yeah, you don't want to waste your time spending emotional and psychological energy on someone that you're just never going to. That doesn't make them a bad person, it just makes it not the right fit.
But here's a cool call out that I want to make sure we talk about. They did a study with gamblers, and we've referenced this study before in the show, but it makes so much sense tying it back in here. They did a study with gamblers, and they wanted to see, is it better to win or to not lose? So they looked and they saw, was a gambler happier when they won money or when they did not lose what was on the table?
Broke
And
even.
correct. And overwhelmingly, they found that the gamblers preferred to not lose.
They'd rather break even than make money.
No, that's not that they'd rather break even. They'd rather not lose. There's a difference.
Okay, tell me more.
So if we tie that to here, it's very similar. So when we look at this, we say, if I get them to say no now, I have lost. So I would rather them not say no to my face, so it feels like I didn't lose. So I didn't break even. I just didn't lose by them saying no.
That is
So if I
very
can
interesting.
hold off on them saying no, I'm going to feel much better because I feel like in my head the deal's kind of still afloat. But John, that is us losing because now we're dedicating time and energy to something that will never, ever transpire. And all 5 tips we just went through allow you to get the win. And the win is either to A, have them say yes, or have them say no. That's the win, to have a definite response while we're in the conversation.
A win could be a no. And that's
Correct?
what don't we think a win is pushing off that no. We're avoiding that no. I don't want to hear that. That's too much. But a
Yeah,
win would be getting to that no sooner.
correct.
Wow. And that's why communication and psychology and NLP and everything that you teach is so important because people don't naturally want to show their cards right away. We have to get them to reveal them.
Yes, correct. John, let's go back through those 5 things real quick so that people who are listening or driving, you get that review and you can write them down real quick if you need to. Here they are. Number 1, make it safe to say no. Say to the client, listen, it's totally fine if this isn't a fit. We can figure that out together. That removes the pressure and keeps them from giving a fake yes. Number 2, ask for a position, not an opinion. So don't ask them, what do you think? Ask them, Mr. Prospect, do you see this as something you'd actually move forward with? Because remember, opinions are safe, but positions are real. Third, surface the hesitation directly. And we talk about this a lot in the book Own the Room. Don't ask something like, are there any questions? Ask, Mr. Prospect, what's not sitting right just yet? This is going to pull out what would have turned into silence later. Fourth, call out the polite exit. Mr. Prospect, if this is one of those sounds good, send it over moments, we should probably talk that through before we get off. So I'm interrupting the default escape route and I'm setting a structured follow-up. Okay, I'm going to send this over. When are you going to get back to me? How are you going to get back to me? And if I don't hear from you, when should I get back to you? And how should I get back to you? Set up that follow-up like you were mapping out a mission. Last but not least, end with a decision frame. What I mean is never use the words, okay, I'll follow up. That's a ghost waiting to happen. Instead, Mr. Prospect, let's figure this out now. Does this make sense to move forward with, or is it not quite there yet? If you don't get a decision on the call of a yes or no, you're going to get ghosted after the call. So the uncomfortable truth, John, is, and some people are going to push back on this, and listen, I welcome hate mail. Ghosting doesn't happen after the call. It happens the moment a buyer says, sounds good, and you let it slide.
It's brilliant. And I realize that's exactly what happened to me. And yet I'm spending all this energy going, they said it sounds good.
Right.
But isn't that what they mean? Don't people always say what they mean?
Yeah.
But no, that is so powerful. So really important, those 5 tactics. Hopefully you took something away from this. If you did, make sure you share this with somebody, the solopreneur in your life who needs to know this. Because we didn't go to some business or sales school when we started our business. But we didn't go through Jake's sales training. Maybe we should have, but we didn't. So there are a lot of people I know out there that need to hear this. So share this with someone to help them out. And then also, if you haven't yet gotten Own the Room, it's how to communicate to be seen, heard, respected. That's available wherever you get your books. And you can find out more about the Strata framework and what to do in these high pressure communication situations.
Thanks for checking out Own the Room with Jake Stahl. If you've gotten value from this episode, share it with the solopreneur in your life who wants to know how to communicate to be seen, heard, and respected. Review and rate the show wherever you check out podcasts. And grab your copy of Own the Room, How to Communicate to be Seen, Heard, and Respected. We'll catch you next week on Own the Room.